Dire team ban.
Oh.
Radiant team ban.
Alrighty, hello everyone, welcome to the Gigabyte Premier League Season 1. This is a best of one between Lowyat.net Esports, a team from Malaysia, and AMD Mineski, the top Filipino team at the moment. Should be a pretty good game coming up. Last time I cast Mineski, they did actually lose to my Australian team of Hans Reborn, so we're going to have to see if they can actually beat out Lowyat. It'll be quite interesting to see whether or not they can tonight. But looking at the banouts, they're going in quite quickly. With Bristleback, Darkseid being banned out, so Lowyat actually banning out those tanky offlane heroes that are quite frustrating to verse in lane. Mineski getting rid of the Venomancer as well as a Lifestealer, so generally just annoying heroes that slow you down. Maybe Mineski want to go for a quite mobile lineup and they don't want to have to deal with being slowed down so they can be kited or anything. So could be seeing high mobility heroes like the Mirana, Queen of Pain, Puck, Storm Spirit, etc. coming out from Mineski, but we'll have to see. Thank you of course to Gigabyte and AMD for sponsoring this tournament, and thank you to Donatalk for very kindly allowing me to cast it. So I am actually very excited to see this game. I love watching the Malaysians versus the Pinoys. Chat always goes crazy, it's quite amusing. But what are we seeing for the first pick? So Lowyat go for a rush pick on the Visage, countered though by Mineski taking two very tanky, very durable heroes with the Timbersaw as well as the Alchemist. So Timbersaw usually goes into that off lane that we have seen in mid before. He's just so frustrating to verse with his huge nuking power and just AoE potential, I suppose. He's great with counter pushing with the chakram and can essentially kill any hero that gets out of position even partially. If anyone gets near him, he will just eat their face open and whirl them to death with his blades. And Alchemist, a very strong hero in the current metagame. He's usually played as a sort of roaming support with a lot of damage coming out from his stun with the Unstable Concoction, as well as being able to rotate into a mid to late game carry if he does decide to go for farming. And he can flash farm fairly well with that Grievous Greed. In addition to that, if he can get even one strength item such as a Vitality booster or an armlet, he's so tanky and very hard to take down. So Alchemist on the whole is a very, very strong hero. But Visage and Clockwork, what an aggressive lineup coming out from Lowyat in response to that. Clockwork versus Timbersaw should be a fairly even lane, honestly. If the Clockwork can hit the Timbersaw with those cogs and just keep his mana pool low, he should be able to just lane against that, but he does have to watch out because if Timbersaw can get up those mana boots, Clockwork is probably going to be dying, just due to this sheer nuking power that I was talking about, as well as that stat steal. So Clockwork is a strength hero, Timbersaw just rips him apart with that Whirling Death, so he really has to watch out for that in the laning stage. Banouts, both teams actually banning out mid heroes. Nightstalker being banned out by Mineski, so another hero that's kind of slows you down and is quite good at juking you. If Lowyat are going to be going for a really aggressive early to mid game lineup, Nightstalker could fit quite well into that. Clockwork plus Nightstalker have got great ganking potential, able to tower dive, so I can understand why they might want to get rid of that. Mineski, usually we see them running either an aggressive tri lane or a dual lanes, so we could see them go for like the Mirana, which is going to be taken now. So Alchemist plus Mirana, we could be seeing that as a support roaming combo, or we could be seeing Mirana just heading into the off lane and Alchemist kind of giving her a little bit of support with the stuns. And Lowyat actually going for a third pick up of the Sand King. So Sand King is one of those support heroes who just kind of flits in and out of the competitive metagame. He is taken sometimes, but he's not particularly common. With the Visage, I think he could do okay. Visage initiating with the Grave Chill slow, followed up by the Sand King stun. And if Lowyat are intending on picking up some kind of hero to take towers down, such as a Dragon Knight, or all that Morphling, so Lowyat are known for having a very, very strong Morphling player. Pretty sure it's Lance who plays that Morphling, but see them pick up the Morphling a lot and do really, really well with it. I don't believe I've seen them lose a game with Morphling, though I might have, but I don't think I have. So this should be a quite exciting lane coming up, and I mean, usually they do want to give Lance a little bit of room to farm up. I assume it is Lance, I'm pretty sure it's Lance. But usually they do want to give a little bit of room for the Morphling to farm up so he can get up that fast Ethereal Blade. Sometimes getting our Lincolns. The Lincolns could be quite handy this game, given at the moment Mineski don't have that many targeted spells, so the Lincolns would give him that kind of escapability he needs to just be able to waveform out of the way. But Sand King plus Visage are going to be quite good to just kind of roam around and get some pickoffs. Whoever goes in mid lane, if they don't have high mobility, Mineski should have to watch out because Lowyat will be giving a lot of pressure to them. And it looks like Lowyat are going for kind of a 4 protect 1, so I think for their last pick in the mid lane, they might take something like a Puck or a Queen of Pain, something that will just give them a bit of an edge in team fights, because at the moment Mineski, I would say, are lacking a little bit of AoE damage. They've really got the Timbersaw, who, like I said, is just a fantastic nuking hero, but his AoE is quite small for his spells, so if you are spread out significantly, the Timbersaw is going to have a hard time taking you all down at once. So if they do pick up something like a Puck or a Queen of Pain, I think Lowyat should have a pretty fun time in team fights. And Mineski at this point, I mean, they've got a ban out the Pucks, maybe.
Radiant team.
What do they think? You've taken Storm Spirit, maybe? I don't know. But Mineski have got an Alchemist, Mirana, and Rubik, so that looks like it's going to be either a tri-lane or a set of dual lanes coming out from them. They have to decide now if they want to try and go head-to-head with the Morphling with their carry. So, I mean, they could pick up something like an Anti-Mage now, I don't know, Phantom Lancer, for example, something that will give them that late-game ability to kind of out-carry the Morphling, or they could just decide, well, we'll go all in the early game and take another sort of semi-carry hero. Seems like an Invoker could fit in quite well. Windrunner is another one who they could deal with. Even something like a CK could go down pretty well, just with that long duration disable going onto the Morphling, though they don't have the Wisp. So CK without Wisp is okay, but he's not the best. But it'll kind of depend on how they want to run the Alchemist. I do feel like Alchemist is going to be a support with the Mirana, just because Alchemist only needs 1 level of stun to just kind of line up the Mirana arrow, whereas Mirana as a support, she has a little bit of difficulty, I would say, getting the level she needs to be kind of come that late game force. So she is capable of playing a support. But Mineski are really thinking about it. They're down to 26 seconds of bonus time left. Yeah, it really depends. I mean, they could even pick up something a little bit unusual, like a Tiny, and have 3 tanky cores to get into the middle of the team fight and not too worry too much about getting picked off. Though Tiny does suffer from low base armor in the early game, so Morphling could capitalize on that, just, you know, kind of auto-attacking him down, since Morphling does have fairly high attack damage once you morph into some agility.
Dragon Knight.
But they're going for the Dragon Knight, so it looks like they are just saying, hey, we're going to go for the early game and just try and win this game before Morphling becomes a big issue. And if they do know Lowyat, which I would assume they do, they know the Lance is going to be incredibly scary on that Morphling, and they have to finish the game, or at least get a significant advantage such that Lance won't be able to carry before around about the 25 to 30 minute mark, when Lance will be finishing up that E-Blade as well as possibly a Linken's or a BKB. And last pick of an Invoker coming out from Lowyat, with DDZ picking that one up for the mid lane, so it should be quite interesting to see exactly what he decides to do with that. Is he going to be going for Exort, or is he going to be going for Quas? And I think he really could do either. It's going to be a personal preference at that point. I don't think any Invoker build at this point is really going to be winning the game for them. It's really just going to depend on how much they can kind of protect the Morphling. But I'll go through the plays quickly while we are paused up, waiting for who knows what. On the side of Mineski, we're going to have Jay on that support Rubik. Josh, aka Owa, is going to be on the Alchemist. Jesse Vash is going to be playing that Timbersaw. Joven is going to be on the Dragon Knight, possibly hidden to the mid lane. And Jules is going to be playing that Mirana. On the side of Lowyat, we've got Clockwork being played by Bad Slow Game. Lance, of course, is going to be on that Morphling. Sand King is going to be played by Xiangzai with a face. Mosin is going to be on the support Visage, and DDZ, of course, is going to be on that Invoker heading towards the mid lane. So, in terms of how these two teams are going to be playing it out, Mineski most likely going to be running the Dragon Knight in lane. He looks like he is buying mid item. So against the Invoker, his aim is basically just to try and harass out the Invoker as much as he can, but on the whole he just wants to get levels. Kind of want to type like 0 to 0 to 0, but maybe that's BMing too hard. Yeah, I won't do it, but I'm thinking it. You know I'm thinking it. Anyway, so in the mid lane, Dragon Knight is just going to be trying to get as many levels as he can until he hits level 6. If Invoker does leave that lane, he's going to be pretty good to get the tower down and, you know, put some pressure onto the maps, but otherwise, or the towers I suppose on the map, otherwise he might rotate to another lane and get a gank by, get a gank before going to, you know, rotate to the top lane and take the tower down or the bot lane. I mean, basically, Mineski with this Dragonite pickup, they want to just kind of finish in the early game and get as many towers and as much gold as they can to, I suppose, solidify any advantage that they want to take. They could potentially run an aggressive tri-lane, but it looks like they're running a passive tri-lane. Jesse Vash is kind of chilling out in the mid lane for the meantime, and they are all heading bot lane, which usually implies you want to protect your own jungle. So they're not going to be contesting the tri-lane coming out from Lowyat, and that is going to give room for Mosin as well as Xiangzai to just pull and get some levels and farm up, which is what they really want to do. I mean, both Sand King as well as Visage are level dependent. Sand King especially, that stun range at level 1 is just atrocious. I mean, it's tiny. It's
30 seconds to battle.
It's no tail level of stunning ability. So Xiangzai is going to want to be getting some pulls off and maybe some rotations if he can, but on the whole he wants to get level 5, level 6, level 7 as fast as he can, and then he can really start ganking. And I'm not too sure if they are going to be able to kill off Timbersaw in the early game. It's really going to depend on the positioning of Jesse Vash, and I guess the stun timing coming out from Xiangzai. Because if Xiangzai times the stun at the same time that Jesse Vash uses a Timber Chain to get away, they could maybe take him down, but I don't know if they're going to really have enough nuking damage in the early game just to drop him. I mean, there is of course damage coming out from the stun, the waveform, the soul assumption. That is a significant amount of damage, but Timbersaw's very, very tanky, and he's got a lot of regeneration. So we'll have to see, but we could be seeing a first blood in that lane. And Jules actually finds a double damage rune, so that's going to be really, really handy for him, because Mirana has one of the lowest base damages in the game. It's comparable to something like a Crystal Maiden. I mean, even Rubik has got higher base damage than Mirana, so that just kind of goes to show how terrible her base damage is. So that does mean that Jules is probably going to have an easy time last hitting. As I say that, no, I'm kidding, he's going to get this one. There we go, he's fine. We can see Clockwork actually blocking the creep wave up here just a little bit to try and pull the lane back to his tower so he can farm safely. But now Badside Game is feeling quite confident to come forward. We can see Josh hiding in the bushes here, ready to charge up that stun. He will be going in. The cogs have been used, so maybe they want to go for an initiation. They will throw out the stun, but Mirana not within range to really throw that arrow. And it should be all okay on the same time. In the mid lane, DDZ looking like he's going to be going for an Exort type Invoker. This will aid the efforts if they do want to go for Jesse Vash in the top lane. If they can kind of chain the stun, well, not chain the stun I suppose, but chain the disables with the slow and the nuke, and maybe get some blocking off that stun strike could really help. And actually, bot lane Badside Game is going to get lifted up to the air. He does throw out the cogs, but Josh will be able to throw out the unstable concoction, and Badside Game stuck in the creeps here, and first blood is going to be going the way of Jules, so it's a nice amount of gold for him. He's got 8 tangos, so he's just going to heal himself back up and ready to rejoin the fight. Top lane, Jesse Vash just kind of hanging around. I mean, nothing too distinguishing. That is a really nice first blood for this bot lane, just forcing the Clockwork to play a little bit safer. And since they do have 3 stuns, Clockwork really has to watch his back. I mean, on the top lane, Jesse Vash should be okay because they've only got the 1 stun coming out. Otherwise, it's just too slow. So that does give them a little bit of an advantage in terms of the laning phase, having so many stuns just helping them out. But of course, the Lowyat have got Lance just getting total free farm at the same time on this top lane, and he's going to be able to get up a very fast couple of core items, depending on what he wants to go for. Like I said, BKB could be a nice item choice given they do have so many nuking damage, but I mean, if he did go for a straight E-Blade, he would be able to potentially just pick off, you know, Mirana, Rubik, even Alchemist, who doesn't really get too much tanky, you know, he just gets regeneration basically from his ultimate, so he doesn't really survive against those hard nuking damages such as will come out from a E-Blade on a Morphling. Anyway, Jules is taking a lot of harassment from Badside Game. He's just spamming out that rocket right onto Jules' head. He started off with 8 tangos, but he's down to 3 already, just due to all of the rockets just coming out, as well as the creep wave, since there was a pull done by Josh there. But I mean, I suspect Josh and Jay might be going for a gank soon. They have got level 3 now on Josh. Jay is almost level 3 as well. They've got the smoke ready, and they could potentially get a kill on this Invoker, since he is going for an Exort. He doesn't have any levels in Wex. He doesn't have Ghostwalk to get away, which would be the only real escape mechanism I think he would have in this early game, given the 4 stuns of this line of his god. So 3 stuns that would be able to gank him. but it's a pretty slow standard build being picked up on the Morphling. He's going for the waveform as well as the morph just for that extra stat. Mosin just hit level 2. Xiangzai doing a little bit of roaming. Oh, actually I missed a kill in mid lane. Well, that was ridiculous by me. I rotated to Josh rotated to mid lane there, and like I was saying, they've got those stuns. Can take him down quite easily. Not that much of a problem. On top lane, Jesse Bash is kind of going man mode against Xiangzai. He will be able to just Timber Chain away, and Xiangzai actually taking a lot of harassment there. He's down to what, 350 health now, which is quite a lot of health to be losing. And Dragon Knight actually getting the kill in the mid lane is going to be quite helpful for him. In terms of CS, he's actually leading at the moment, which is not something you'd quite expect, and he will actually be trying to go in on the mid lane, but Cold Snap will be stopping him in his tracks. He's got the regeneration rune, so he's not too worried, and he will be popping it immediately, just
All things fall.
doing what he can to keep the lane in his control. He might just try and do a little bit of pressure into the tower. You know, any hit is going to be doing damage over time. And actually on top lane, Jesse Vash getting very, very low. The Sunstrike is going to hit, followed up by the Soul Assumption new coming out from Mosin. That's going to be the death of Jesse Vash. And that's what I was talking about. When they get a couple of levels up on the Sand King, as well as the Visage, they can take down Jesse Vash. It's just a little bit harder in the early game. And Jay will be seeing Bad So Game going for a bit of a run. He's going to be trying to get a gank off on the Dragon Knight, it looks like. We do see a rotation coming out from Xiangzai as well, kind of hanging out in that mid lane. His ultimate's about to wear off. And in comes Xiangzai. He's going to get stunned out though, but here comes Bad So Game. He will not cast the Cogs. He will cast the Cogs finally. Sunstrike going to be cast as well, just taking him down. That's going to be a return kill. But in comes Jay, lifting Xiangzai up in the air. Really nice little sandstorm there, making him get away. And Josh is going to walk straight in and stun himself. They want to go in on that, but they don't have the spells available right now to take him down. And Jesse Vash has come in to help out as well. So the score is 2-2 at the moment. However, Jules has picked up his minors. On top lane, Lance looks like he's going for a straight Lincoln's Rush, so Jules should be doing pretty good in experience and farm when compared to the enemy carry. Though of course the Morphling is a little bit better at split pushing, I would say, than a Mirana, just having that replicate as well as the waveform to flash farm. And now everyone's just trying to get some farm up. Like I said, Joven probably wants to rotate and try and do a bit of pressuring on the towers. They could go bot lane and, you know, take a decent chunk of damage out of the bot lane tower, especially since it is just a Clockwork who is out of mana now. There's not that much a Clockwork can do to defend the lane. He's got a bottle, but of course the courier is a little bit delayed because it is coming back from the top lane. So I mean, now would be an ideal time to go down bot lane and do a bit of pressuring. And the really good thing about pressuring is that it forces the supports to rotate. So if they can make maybe the Sand King or the Visage rotate down to this bot lane, Timbersaw should be able to outlane the Morphling, given even levels, which it is level 4 to level 5, it's not that much of a level advantage. Timbersaw should really set to just force the Morphling out of lane, but it looks like they're just going to go straight from the mid lane. We do see that support rotation, like I was saying. Joven making a lot of pressure, and Xiangzai is going to be able to get in range. No invisibility rune is going to be popped out by Joven. Actually, at the same time on bot lane, we do see Josh and Jules taking down the Clockwork, who must have gone a little bit too far forward. Like I was saying, he was out of mana and he didn't have his bottle up yet. He was waiting for the courier to supply it to him, so... Well, 3-2 at the moment, a really good pick up there. Jules is really pulling ahead on farm, and look at his net worth. He's 700 gold, higher than the Morphling. This is 7 minutes into the game, so that's 100 gold per minute, if I'm not incorrect. More than the Morphling is getting, so that is quite significant. But now the supports are going to be smoked up at the same time as Moonlight Shadow being popped by the Mirana, but there is a ward as well as a sentry in the mid lane spotting them out, so they all know where they are. And looks like the supports may be considering re-engaging. They could take the high ground and come around, but they will involve getting hit by the tower. But no, they're going to be finding Josh in the jungle. They know he's there. They will be able to get the stun off coming up from Xiangzai. He's trying to get the block off, but no, he can't. But Sunstrike will be landing, followed up Soul Assumption coming out from Mosin, and that's going to be the death of Josh there in the jungle. Actually, in mid lane, Joven getting auto attack down by DDZ. He does have the cold snap onto him, but it's not enough at the moment. Xiangzai is trying to get in range. Xiangzai actually holding 2 magic sticks. I'm not too sure what the point of that is, but he's going to be low on mana for the moment.
Do it with flair.
Bad So Game on the bot lane, just trying to get a little bit of farm up. He is level 6 now, so we could see him doing some rotation. I mean, it would be a nice time to go gank the mid lane, especially as soon as Joven does use that ultimate. Once it's on cooldown and it's not up, you can get a kill on him quite easily, I would say, especially because they do have the rotations. And Visage is at level 6 now, so there's familiars who've got good scouting ability, able to see generally where everyone is. The map control coming out from the Dire is not too great at the moment, though they do have a little bit more
Radiant's
control around the
middle
mid
tower
lane.
is under attack.
And of course at the same time Lance is just getting total free farm. In terms of net worth though, he is still significantly behind the Mirana, because Mirana did get that off that really fast Midas, and that Midas is going to help quite a lot. But in mid lane we do see rotation coming around on DDZ. DDZ is not going to be able to escape from this one. Double damage rune popped on Joven. It looks like this is going to be the push for the mid tower. They did use the Elder Dragon form for that. Just a stun coming out from Josh with the Unstable Concoction, sealing the deal, and this is going to be first tower of the game going down. At the same time on bot lane, Jules has been forced out. There's Visage Familiars wanting to get in range for a stun, but they won't be finding it. Joven now taking the tower, so he's been quite well on farm. He's 2-1, so he did die once, of course, in that mid lane, but 44 CS, he's almost... Well, what is he going for? He's picking up a TP scroll. He could go for the BKB or the Shadow Blade first.
Tower is under
If he goes
attack.
for the Shadow Blade, he could be a really nice initiation power for his team. Just being able to run in. Actually, he's going to be running straight into Xiangzai now.
Dire's middle tower is under
No
attack.
stun going off, and they will just both back out.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Jules is still just farming 1.7k gold in the bank, so I'm wondering what item he's going to go for. When I have seen Mineski play the Mirana, they seem to pick up the Midas into Lincoln's quite a lot, and then just use that Lincoln's buff to be able to push quite aggressively, so we could be seeing that coming out from Jules. Batso game will be finding a haste run in bot lane, so Jules had better watch out. And there's two supports just kind of chilling around here. But I am interested to see, is Jules going to go for a BKB? Is she going to go for that Lincoln's like I was talking about, or maybe a Manta? The Lincoln's I suppose will help when you're versing that Morphling, since Lance does typically go for a straight, Lincoln's into E-Blade, so it will be quite handy against that, giving him the survival ability against that first E-Blade proc. But of course it is a really big item and it's not going to give him any DPS, and given that they don't have much physical DPS, Dragon Knight usually goes for more tanky items, so like I said, he could go for a Shadow Blade to be an initiation power, or he could be going for a Blink Dagger since he has enough money to buy the Shadow Amulet now, and he hasn't bought it. Blink Dagger is another item that we do see picked up quite often on Southeast Asian players on the Dragon Knight, just for that initiation power, just to be able to blink in and destroy everyone. But speaking of Joven in the mid lane, Hook is going to be coming out. He's on the run, but he hasn't got anywhere to go. Haste Rune on Bad So Game will be just stopping him with that Battery Assault. He will be falling. 4-4 is the score at the moment. And on top lane, Lance just going to take a little bit of harassment from Jesse Vash. We do see a rotation of two supports coming in who are smoked up. Moonlight Shadow will be cancelled now, but there's a stun being charged up by Josh. Is he going to get sight of Lance? And he will be able to get sight of him. Stun will be flying onto Lance. In comes the Timbersaw. Huge damage. He is trying to strength him up, but is going to be enough? Yes, it will be. He manages to waveform out of the way. In comes Xiangzai, getting that stun off into Josh. Josh is going to be going down. Nice steal of the stun coming out from Jay. Just hit level 6 then. And he's going to be on the run. He has got the Fade Ball, but it's not enough damage to take down Lance, who's still on near full health. But in comes the Dragon Knight, popping his Elder Dragon form. Xiangzai will be going down to Jesse Vash with that Whirling Death. Now DDZ, he has gotten up with the Cold Snap, but he's completely out of mana. Lance is out of mana as well, and DDZ could be going down now. In comes the Chakram. Huge damage on him. He does pop the Cold Snap onto Jay, but Jay is not going to be taking too much damage from that and will be able to walk away. So a really nice little scuffle there. I would say that went in favour of Mineski. I don't think they lost a single hero, and they did manage to take down 2, so Invoker down as well, and his farm has been shut down quite significantly. He's 1-3 at the moment. He hasn't really got any core items coming up. In fact, he's got 9. He's just got the Treads and the Bottle. And I mean, when you consider the farm picked up on the Dragon Knight, he's going for that. So he is going for the Shadow Blade. He's picked up the Shadow Amulet, and he should have that up quite soon, especially if he gets the last one in this tower.
Structures are fortified.
And I mean, looking at the levels as well, it does show a... Actually, no, it doesn't show anything much. They're all pretty much even, so that is quite interesting. I would have thought there'd be a level advantage on Mineski, but apparently not. And anyway, Joven maybe overstayed his welcome, but his allies are pinging him out saying, do you want to fight this? Do you want to fight this, buddy? Jesse Vash has got the mana boots up, so they're all back to full mana. The top tower will be denied, but they are considering going in on it. And of course, while they're doing this, while they're creating a whole bunch of pressure onto Lowyat, Mirana is just farming in the bot lane, as Jules does love to do. He's got another 2k gold up, phase boots are done. Midas is still just fueling his gold and experience advantage. In mid lane, we do actually see a clockwork hook going out into Josh. Sunstrike is coming out. He tries to dodge it. He will get a stun off of Xiangzai, but Xiangzai somehow stuns anyway. So that is going to be the death of Josh. All the regeneration in the world does not matter against that nuking damage, taking him down before he can regenerate anything. Joven 100 gold to that Shadow Blade, so he's going to be really strong initiation power, like I was saying. He can just basically go in and catch someone out. DDZ actually really aggressively eyeing Jay. He's going to be able to get the cold snap off, and with those annoying familiars hitting onto him, that's going to be the death of him. And yellow, DK now TPing in. He will have the Moonlight Shadow up, but now he's completely out of mana. He has got the 7-1 charges. He will be popping them to get the ultimate off, and Shanghai on virtually no health, but he's going to be able to stun his way out of the way. But Josh will get the last hit on the kill of Mosin. DDZ now on the run. Jules also out of mana. He's got 2 1 charges. He does have enough for an arrow, but he's not going to cast it, and they're chasing after that lucky little Shanghai who TP'd out of the way. So a 1-for-1 trade, losing a support for a support. Did miss a kill. Lance died. Didn't notice that. Sorry, guys. So yeah, Jesse Vash solo killed Lance? I don't know. Maybe I did miss a kill. Anyway, it doesn't matter. In mid lane, Jules is just getting some farm up. He has picked up. What has he picked up? Well, Shadow Blade up on Joven. Jesse Vash, Jules. Oh, an ultimate orb. So with that ultimate orb, he could be building into a Manta, or he could be building into the Lincolns. Like I said, it's a little bit of a ambiguous item. Honestly, I think a Manta is going to be a little bit better for them this game, given that they do want to finish the game quite early. And Morphling is a very versatile carry in the late game, and they don't really have the ability to deal with the split push that a Morphling can provide. They don't have enough damage coming out from the Mirana to really take a Morphling down in the late game, I would say, unless she gets a lot of kills. Where at the moment she's 2-0, it's nothing bad, but there's not a big enough advantage, I would say, yet for them to consider going for the late game. So if Jules does decide to pick up a Manta, it will give them a little bit more ability to just push towers down quite aggressively and get a really strong early map control advantage. So that Morphling, if he does decide to push, he's going to be doing it quite aggressively into potentially 5 heroes. And I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we do see maybe a gem coming out from one of the teams. Lowyat probably wants a gem against the Shadow Blade, as well as the Mirana Moonlight Shadow Ultimate, but a gem coming out from Mineski would be able to just secure the map control. I mean, we can see a couple of aggressive wards being planted by Lowyat, so they want to be able to see if anyone stacks the Ancients. When you have a Dragon Knight who's past level 11, which Joven now is, you can take down the Ancients quite easily, but it looks like Lowyat are going to be just trying to secure a little bit more map control in the mid lane with DDZ, Lance. In fact, all of them bar Bad Slow Game pushing this tower down just a little bit, doing a little bit at a time, but they are going to initiate in onto DDZ. Shanghai trying to get in range. DK will be TPing in front of all of them, and actually Josh is charging up the stun. He does manage to throw it at huge range onto Mosin. Mosin probably going to be going down now. Joven does manage to go in, even popping the Moonlight Shadow. Shanghai walks back in, and that is going to be the death of him. Jesse Vash scoring a killing spree on that one.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Okay.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Sorry, I hope that's better. I didn't have... Oh, cool. Whoop, there we go. Okay. Sorry, just setting the volume there. Alright, so Bad Slow Game, DDZ, as well as Lance, all smoked up. I think wanting to maybe find a kill if they can, but of course they are 2 down at the moment, and Mineski are really just grouping up. It looks like they want to be pushing together, just leaving Jules a little bit of farm on the bot lane while they can, but they will be throwing out some rockets, just scouting out Jules, scouting out Joven. They will be finding DDZ, but nice hook, going to be latching onto 2. Nice sunstrike coming out, landing right into Josh's head. Chaos Meteor to seal the deal, and Jay will be falling as well as Josh, and now even maybe going to go into Jesse Vash. Morphling using that waveform in to do a decent damage, but he will actually get the stun off on Jesse Vash. The last second, Jesse Vash is on the run barrel now, but a stun coming out from Jules will be landing right onto Lance's head. Now Joven, he's in the middle of the team fight. He will be cancelling that epicenter immediately. Shanghai is going down. There's 3 down versus 2. Bad Slow Game trying to one-on-one them, but all of the heroes are so low on the side of Mineski, but they just don't have enough damage to clean them up. And DDZ, who's on full health, is not going to be fighting. He's just going to be backing out. He's got the Sunstrike, and he will maybe be casting it. He's casting it somewhere. Not going to be landing onto anyone. So 4 for, what, 2 exchange there. Really nice fight going the way of Mineski, and that's exactly what they wanted. Morphling died yet again. He's got the Lincoln Sphere recipe, but he needs to buy that really expensive ultimate orb, which he just hasn't really had the space to farm. And Joven now just going to be backing out from that bot lane. And now, if we look at the golden experience graph, really turn in favour of Mineski after that fight there. It was sitting at around about, 2,000, nothing too extreme, especially when you consider the minus pickup by Jules there. What was he buying? What you buying? Lincoln Sphere. But now, after that fight, really going in favour of Mineski. So Mineski just taking the lead at the moment. And another 2k gold picked up on this Dragon Knight, so he could be buying another big item, maybe going for a Heaven's Halberd just for extra harassment onto Lance. Otherwise, he could decide to go pure damage. He is quite tanky, and like we saw last fight, there's just not enough damage on Lowyat to really take them down. They're relying on that Epicenter, but Sand King doesn't have enough farm for a Blink Dagger, so that Epicenter gets cancelled out quite easily, given the masses of stuns on Mineski. It might be in Lowyat's favour just to, after Lance has farmed at that Lincoln Sphere, but to give Xiangzai enough farm to get the Blink Dagger up. But anyway, Mineski now are smoked up and heading towards the jungle. They want to get a pick off if they can. They want to take down the tier 2 towers next before going in for that Roshan pit most likely. And Lance is going to be the target of choice. He does a waveform out of the way and replicates to safety. He's going to farm that top lane, but he knows there's 5 in his jungle, so he'd better watch his back. Jesse Vash now coming up to go on the high ground and maybe try and find him. And Joven will just take down both of those Visage Familiars, and they're back on cooldown for another 80 seconds. So quite a long time to be without your Familiars, but it looks like the rest of Mineski will be leaving Lance alone to farm, so there should be maybe enough time for Lance to farm up that Ultimate Orb that he desperately wants to get that Lincoln Sphere up. 19 minutes already and he doesn't have a Lincoln Sphere, which he pretty much needs, and with a DD rune they're probably going to be losing this tier 2 tower mid, so Lowyat have better watch out, and you can just see that Lincoln Sphere picked up, just pop right onto Joven, so Joven can stand at the front without any kind of worry, and actually Arrow, ooh, Moza does manage to dodge it, so he's going to be okay for the meantime, but still, this tower is going to be falling down. Lance is doing his best to split push the top lane, but his split pushing ability isn't that strong until he picks up a couple more core items. He doesn't attack that fast, he doesn't attack that hard. I mean, he attacks decently, of course, but when you consider that he's trying to outpush a DD Dragon Knight, he just doesn't have enough damage. And actually on bot lane, Bad So Game gonna get arrowed out by Jules as he tries to TP. He has to get out of the way right now. He's gonna be just trying to man mode onto Jules, and he might be able to do it with the Sunstrike coming out, and Jules will be going down. Bad So Game on the run. He hasn't got a TP scroll. He's gonna be buying that 4-star recipe, and he's trying to make it away. There is a waveform taken, but no, Jay doesn't know where he's gone. And Bad So Game gonna make it out scot-free, as well as taking down the carry Jules on that Mirana. So really good little turnaround there by Lowyat, and I do love how he didn't panic. Bad So Game was stuck in a situation, he was like, I'm gonna die here, so I'm just gonna do as much damage as I can before I die. And that's exactly how you should be playing. If you're surely dead, well, just do everything you can, unless you're an Enigma black holing 5 people when your allies are dead. Don't do that because the cooldown's too long. But otherwise, that was really nicely played by Bad So Game. And that has given Lance enough time to farm up that Lincoln Sphere, so that big core item coming up. At the same time though, DK does manage to farm up a BKB, so probably not exactly what they want to be seeing. Shadowblade plus BKB up on the DK at 21 minutes into the game. He is incredibly fat. I mean, his net worth, even out net worthing Jules, that's Jules, 0 to 0 to 0 Jules, who's got a Midas up. So really fantastic farm being picked up on Joven at the moment. We can actually see Arrow landing right onto Xiangzai's head. Jules is going to be going in for the kill. Xiangzai hasn't got anywhere to go, and he not going to be able to make it away from that. His Sandstorm was on cooldown. He tried to stun himself out of the way with the Bio Strike, but nice little arrow there will be scoring the kill. And at the same time we do see DDZ taking a kill onto the Alchemist in the mid lane. A little bit of a scuffle, Alchemist going a little bit too far forward. So I mean ultimately a 1-for-1 trade at the end of that, with the kills going each way. Score's only 15 to 11 though. The golden experience don't really show it. I mean, a lot of the towers have been taken down. Like the tier 1 towers are all gone for the side of Lowyat, whereas Lance has only managed to score the one tier 1 tower, and Mineski are really doing a good job of just defending these pushes. And it looks like Jules actually is going to be picking up the Manta next. He's got the Yasha flying out, so that's going to be helping quite a lot. Like I said, getting that Manta will enable them to really push quite aggressively, and possibly a Desolator being picked up by Jules as well, I would say, just to get the towers down faster and faster and faster. And Lance has to really watch his positioning. The warding coming out from his team, it's not aggressive enough, I suppose, to justify Lance split pushing when a whole bunch of heroes are missing on the map. He probably needs, if he wants to push the bot lane for example, he probably needs a ward here or here, just so he knows he's safe, because at the moment they have no idea where the heroes on the side of Mineski are. I mean, they see there's one in the mid lane, you can see them immediately ping it out. It looks like they do want to go for an gank on him. They are smoked up, heading towards that mid lane. Will they be seeing Jay? They will be spotting out Jay, but are they going to be able to go in? Bad So Game says yes, he wants to get the hook off. They do see Josh, and man, huge hook across the map, going to be landing onto Josh. Sunstrike is coming out, and he will will not be going down. He's on 1 hit, but no. In comes Mosin, getting the Soul Assumption off the last hit. Bad So Game is on the run. Shangzai wants to go in, but that's not his cogs, and he gets his mana stolen. At the same time, Dragonite takes down Visage. He's got that BKB pop. He's chasing the ball down. In comes Jules, just trying to take down Bad So Game, but not going to be able to do it. No, he will be able to do it. But Lance, he is man-moding onto the Dragonite, but Joven will just try and get the stun off. He has got the oh no, he walks straight into the arrow, and he's going to get taken down by Jesse Vash, and Joven's going to make it away on 80 health. At the same time, Xiangzai goes down to Jay, so that is a team down in exchange for that Alchemist. Not a good exchange for Lowyat there at all, and this could be the high ground being taken, all of Roshan. They're trying to decide between the two. Of course, Joven is quite out of mana and out of health at the moment, but he finds a double damage rune on the bot rune spot, so this could be a fairly easy Roshan with no contest coming up from Lowyat. Roshan is falling incredibly fast. Jesse Vash has actually picked up the Bloodstone now, and gold lead around about 12,000, experience around about 13,000. This game is just snowballing out of control for Mineski at this point. They went for a really nice early aggressive lineup, and they should be able to take the racks with ease very, very soon. I mean, they've almost got the AC up, they've got the Mantra up in a not too far distant future, yep. Bloodstone is done, like I said. Even Rubik is heading towards a 4-star, and all the core items they need really are going to be coming up in the very, very soon. Actually, in fact, even this support Alchemist has picked up a medallion and almost got a mech up, and even though a mech at 25 to 30 minutes isn't, a crucial item, it will help quite a bit. Of course, that is not to say Lowyat are out of this. You have to remember, Lowyat have got a Morphling, and Morphling is just one of the best late game carries in Dota 2. I mean, he's incredibly hard to farm up, and he needs to be able to split push and get the room to, have his way with the enemy team's towers. But still, if he gets even an inch of space, he will be able to turn this game around in his favour, and you can see his gold. At the moment, 2k gold, so he's heading towards that Ethereal Blade, I would assume. E-Blade normally picked up on Morphling, kind of pays for itself with the kills he managed to take on the supports. Of course, like I was saying, the supports aren't that squishy at this point. I mean, they're getting a lot of core items up, and with that mech especially, you probably won't be able to instantly kill Alchemist. But regardless, Rubik as well as Mirana could be in trouble from him. Though even Mirana's quite tanky. But still, if he does pick the E-Blade up, he could, yeah, it looks like he's going for E-Blade. He might be able to score some kills and then, use that to fuel his further items. But at the same time, DK gets that AC, so he is incredibly tanky. They've got no negative armor on the side of Lowyat to deal with that. Clockworks are nowhere near AC or a Shivas. Sand not even anywhere near a Blink Dagger. And DDZ, he's got a 4-star, he's heading towards a mech, but he's still about 3k from it, so that's a fair distance away. And Visage has got virtually nothing as well, so I mean the items just aren't coming up for Lowyat. Really the only one who's getting any kind of farm is Lance, and like I said, I think they need to give Xiangzai a little bit of farm to be able to ensure that he has that Blink Dagger up, because that Blink Dagger could be a game-changing item. It's still fairly early into the game, and a nice epicenter can turn the team fight around. They're going to be initiating a lot onto that little Clockwork Illusion, but they will be taking a tier 1 in exchange for a tier 2. I think they want to keep pushing, but at the same time, Mineski is saying, hey, we've got Illusions galore, let's go the high ground. Joven has got that Lincoln Sphere, pop onto him. They do have the they do have the Fortify, so they could defend this theoretically if they wanted to. It looks like they will be. Xiangzai kind of hanging around the side there, but Mosin's going to get arrowed, 4-staffed out immediately by DZ, but he's going down anyway, and now in comes Joven into the middle of the team fight. Lincoln Sphere is going to be popped onto DDZ, and huge Clockwork hook landing onto all of them, but he goes down immediately. They just can't take Joven down, there's no damage. Jules in the middle of the team fight, but Lance probably regrets that decision. Stun coming out from Josh, and Lance is going to be going down as well. Immediate buyback from DDZ, as well as the Morphling. They want to defend this, but remember, there's still the Aegis. Or is there? Yes, there's still the Aegis up on Jesse Vash, so they really are trying to fight this in a 6v3 situation. But anyway, nice little definitely blast. They might be able to take Jay out, but no, Xiangzai's going to be going down. Jay will be going down there, but Lance now could be falling for his efforts. He will be able to replicate out of the way, but still the Rax is going down. Joven just hitting it down. He doesn't care about the teams. He doesn't care about the fights. He just wants to get the Rax, and they will be falling. My mouse just stopped working, sorry. Okay. And now they will rotate. Morphling doesn't have bite, Invoker doesn't have bite. They have to watch their backs and ensure they don't go too aggressively. They will be backing out at this point, heading back to just farm a bit more, but Mirana is getting close to that Desolator. I would assume it's a Desolator. Yeah, it is going to be a Desolator, and that's just going to rip through the towers even more. And Lance's farm is just not up to par at the moment. He's 1 to 4, and he used that buyout money, which he needed to get the E-Blade, and he knows it's over. They're just going to call the GG out. They've lost the racks. They feel like they can't come back from this. So, I mean, GG well played to both teams. Mineski are going to be taking the win. So GG well played to both teams. Thank you of course to Gigabyte as well as AMD for sponsoring this tournament. Thanks to Dota Talk for allowing me, quote unquote Lily, to cast this. And shout out to DapBet.net esports betting. But thanks for watching guys. If you have any feedback on the cast, just chuck it in the chat or message me on Twitch or on my fan page. You can follow me on Twitter at porcelain_lily. Facebook is facebook.com/lilypiedota. But yeah, thanks for watching guys.